it is indeed a typical mistake that we have to talk about, because what we are seeing is that it doesn't register immediately for both players. Hence, it's a typical mistake. Chess, nonsense, and analysis.
Yes, Watu. Here we are again. What are we looking at today?
Well, today we're looking at typical mistakes that are made in the opening, and we are hoping to give the viewers some advice.
Excellent. I think this is a key topic. Everybody wants to sharpen their opening skills and know what not to do. So, shall we jump over to the board?
Absolutely.
So today's featured game, we have Mr. Baker, Greg Baker here with the white pieces versus Lyle Prince, who were played in a recent game in 2024.
Yeah, and by the way, I just wanted to mention Mr. Baker is obviously the manager of Mayanani, and he's the go-to guy if you want to get everything organized, organizing of players, motivating players to play, everything that has to do with organization. And I must admit, I've played for many different teams, and including Olympiads and so on. And he definitely is one of the very best people in organizing a team and
just making you feel comfortable as a player.
Absolutely.
Ready for the match, yeah.
And sure. Just taking care of everything. You go to play, and you know that, okay, everything else is taken care of. The players will be there, this will be there. There's no worry.
And then on top of that, you then sometimes forget to realize that the guy's actually still playing as well while everything is happening.
That's even more impressive.
Yeah.
So absolutely. So
okay.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the game. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
C4, E5. We have an English on the board. Pawn to E4. Interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Knight F3 and Bishop C5. H3, castle.
Mm-hmm.
A5. And the knight takes E5.
Yes. So this is basically, a typical mistake that happens in many different openings and setups. For example, let's go all the way back. We'll come back to this. One that comes to mind is, say, E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, Bishop C4, Knight F6, and White plays Knight C3. So again, we have that similar situation. Then Black would, of course, play Knight takes E4. Yeah, because if Knight takes E4, D5. But of course, before Knight takes E4, if Black plays Bishop takes F7, check. It looks dangerous. King takes, Knight takes E4, but D5. The center prevails. Yeah, the center is more important even than the not castling.
Yeah.
So let's go back then to the game. Move 6, isn't it? A3, A5. That was our last position. So Knight takes E5. So that's a typical mistake then that Black has committed. It means that White is going to be slightly better in the opening. I think for me, there's one game that comes to mind. Is a classical game. It was played between Botvinnik was white against Keres.
Okay.
And it was an English opening, and Botvinnik took on E5, Keres took on F2, King takes F2. Botvinnik won a nice game because he had control of the center in that game.
Yeah, if you think about Botvinnik, you think about these English setups. Right?
Exactly, and he also liked to play C4, E4.
Yeah.
Botvinnik setup now.
Very nice. I should check that one out. Botvinnik, Keres.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Black now allowed this. So as we move on, Bishop takes. So White has this big center and the bishop pair.
Mm-hmm.
Knight c6, queen drops back.
Let's go back. Excuse me. Now that you mention it, let's go back before Black gives the bishop. And because when you are already in this situation, I think you have an option of then deciding which piece to give. Do you give the bishop or do you give the knight? And to me, it seems like the less evil is to give the knight
Yes.
rather than the bishop, right?
Going
So,
bishop d6, perhaps.
yeah, bishop d6 we should try, and then you can take there, and okay,
Maybe if white pushes you,
yeah,
you could even do
you
that.
could even that, but it's but as I say, I would choose this option. White is still better, of course, but I mean, at least I get a chance to keep my bishop, right?
Yeah, for sure. So instead he captures over there.
Yes, it seems to me like white has got a lot of control now.
Yeah. Looking at hitting the central pawn. And yeah, white defends the pawn by using the pin. So looks a bit risky to me, Watu.
Yes, again, this is another typical mistake, because let's go back again. We'll come back. It's move 11. Yeah, we were talking typical mistakes in the opening. Let's go all the way back.
All the way back.
Let's say white plays e4,
Yeah.
d6, knight f3, bishop g4, bishop c4. Let's say black plays a6 for that matter.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a situation now. The bishop on g4 is pinning the knight to the queen, of course. However, there is another tactic against, or pattern against black. The queen is attacking the bishop through the knight. X-ray.
Yes.
So, of course, the knight cannot move, but if the knight finds something, either a check or I threaten checkmate, then I can move the knight.
Yes.
And right here, then that bishop takes f7 is there, because king takes knight g5 check. The king will move, and then I will take
piece back.
The piece back, right?
Nice.
So now let's go to move 11. Was it move 11? Yes.
Yeah, move 11.
Exactly, bishop g5. So now the conditions are similar. The bishop attacks, is pinning the knight to the queen, but now a big part of it is that the king is in the center. This is now playing a very important part, and the rook is on e8, right? So yes. So the X-ray is there on the king, absolute X-ray, I guess.
And as you've pointed out earlier, the queen is actually eyeing the bishop as well.
Exactly. So this another typical mistake, you see, that is made in the endgame. So in the opening.
So again, you start to think, what useful move can you do with the knight, right?
Exactly.
So there's no bishop takes check, but if you simply capture over there,
and now you have to look at in future, my knight will be in the same line as the king. Will there then be something useful I could do then?
Yes.
Right. And actually, chess is a game of pattern recognition. Sorry again to viewers, we have to go back again.
Yes, I love it.
Now let's go e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, knight takes e5, knight takes e4, queen e2, knight d6. Now we have this. This is one we learn as beginners, where you have now this discovered check that is coming, and the knight will move and say check, so you want the most productive way, and then you see, okay, the queen is there to be attacked, so then it's knight c6 check, right? And then I'm attacking the queen, and even if the queen closes, I take the queen with the knight, right? Now we go back to our move. What move is that? It is move. We were showing us this variation. Knight takes e4, bishop takes d8.
So if we take the queen,
so it's the same.
Similar pattern.
But same pattern actually, right? So we take knight takes e3 check,
and we score the queen.
We score the queen, and the bishop is still in trouble.
Nice. And we've captured the knight in the meantime, right? So we've dropped the queen, get this piece, and we're gonna get our piece back, our queen back. Nice.
Exactly.
So I mean, what is white to do here? We need to. We should need to something.
Knight takes d1.
And this is being attacked, and the knight can potentially...
The knight gets out, unfortunately.
Bishop cannot go there because we can capture it.
Yes. So
this looks great for black.
Black is a piece up, right?
Already, right?
Yeah, but we'll keep it.
He'll keep it.
So it's definitely a big mistake.
And of course, white doesn't have an alternative here. If he doesn't capture the queen, what to do? If he captures here, we can take with check. Can we take the bishop rather?
Or we take the bishop because the knight is still pinned, right?
Yeah, you can even do this. Black has options, yeah.
But okay, let's say okay, let's go back to knight takes e4. Okay, I guess I would have to play bishop e3, right? If I don't want to,
Bishop e3.
if I still want to be in the game.
Yeah.
And now, okay, black has got all these options, and but black has black won a pawn? Should be. Yes, black
He's
has
on
won
the
a pawn.
pawn.
Yeah.
He's got moves like knight g3
Knight
available.
g3, queen h4,
Yeah.
setting up more patterns. It's very difficult for white.
Yeah.
But not immediately lost, but very difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
position. So Birchhoff was a very big error.
Yeah. So bishop g5, okay, relying on the pawn there to protect the pawn. Instead, maybe just bishop d3, right?
Yeah.
Just protecting and getting ready
Castle.
to castle.
Right. Holding advantage.
Yeah. So bishop g5. Black now didn't find knight takes e4. He plays h6. But okay, now white still needs to part with the bishop there, just to hold on to the pawn.
Maybe white then notices the mistake that probably Mr. Baker realizes the mistake that is made, and because why I'm saying that, I mean, bishop takes f6 wouldn't be the first choice.
Of course,
Yeah.
you don't want to give it up, right? But now he has to. So he goes bishop to e2, on to d6, and he sees an opportunity. He jumps in knight d5. So looks like a nice square, but it feels a bit early, Watu.
Yes, I think this is again. It's a very instructive game, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is again a typical mistake. Going into war, so to speak, right? Going with full aggression, attacking the opponent before your own king is sorted, safe. So here, white should just castle.
Get that out of the way.
Get it out of the way, right? Just castle. And if black tries anything, queen g6, you play king h1 and things like that, getting out of the pins and everything. And that knight d5 is still there.
Still happening at some point,
Yeah. So I think, that it's a typical mistake that you see something nice and you feel like you want to do it now. Because I'm sure that the other rooks on a8 and e8 also influence knight d5. Then there's a knight takes a7 threat.
Yes.
Yeah. So it means then, of course, that the queen must go back to d8. And I'm sure that Mr. Baker was very happy to get this menacing queen away.
Looks nice. But of course, the downside of knight d5 now is the e4 pawn.
The e4 pawn is now hanging.
How does white protect it? White played bishop f3. Not the ideal square for the bishop.
No. And letting go of defense of c4.
Yes, c4 is hanging. And black played knight to e5, but he had an interesting alternative here. I think maybe something like f5 is possible.
Absolutely.
Taking advantage of, again, we see here why we don't want to leave the king in the center. Right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
f5 is possible. Even bishop f5 is possible here.
Yes, possible.
So
Yes.
I think maybe black missed this opportunity here. So
you see, the thing, what is of interest to me is that it is indeed a typical mistake that we have to talk about, because what we are seeing is that it doesn't register immediately for both players. Hence, it's a typical mistake, because Mr. Baker with bishop f3, there should be red flags going all the way. Should be saying, whoa, but I'm leaving my king in the center. And not only am I leaving my king in the center, but the opposing rook is on e8.
yeah.
Whew, must be careful.
Yeah.
And then after playing it, right, after playing bishop f3, Mr. Pritzlow should say,
Hold up.
king e1, rook e8. You see, so I think for me that is the important part, that you'll find that both players, if you put the position there, they would be able to see it immediately. But during the game, it's that reaction, that quick, because of the tension and everything, that you immediately you don't sort out the position first. It's another typical mistake that one can make.
Yeah, for sure. Nicely put over there, Watu. So yeah, both sides missed this idea on the e file.
Yes.
Knight e5 was played. Castle. White finally gets the king out of the center.
Yeah.
Black kicks the knight. The knight drops back. And black had an opportunity to grab the pawn on c4,
Yes.
but shall I call it in Paul Morphy style, rather declines the pawn and goes on for the attack over there.
Yes.
So queen to g5,
But there is
the romantic style, I would say.
there is a difference, and because I know exactly the game you're talking about, the Paul Morphy game.
Yeah.
You're talking about that when queen b3 is played.
He's not interested in b7.
And then queen e7 doesn't take on b7, but plays knight c3. Yeah, but in Paul Morphy's game, the king was in the center.
He had something going there, right? Yeah.
Right. The king was in the center, very important. And here the king is castled.
Yeah, white has a lot more defensive resources. He's already castled, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe black should have cashed in at this
Take
point.
the pawn.
Maybe he should have cashed in.
Yeah.
So king h1. And okay, black now, his intentions are clear. He's going for
aggressive intentions.
Yeah. Bishop h5.
Stopping
so
rook
white
g6.
stops rook g6 for the moment. Knight g6. Maybe knight f4 is coming.
Yes.
Queen g4. White says, let's keep things calm. Queen e5. White trades. Drops back.
I must admit, though, in terms of the decisions that Mr. Baker is making, to me, they are very logical decisions because it goes back, to defending, changing the character of the position, understanding that the knight on g6 is very strong. The knight is going to come to the game. My bishop is not really doing much.
Yeah.
Let me trade my bishop for this knight. I lessen the pressure, and then I go back to me having a better position.
Good defensive job over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Queen to g5 play, threatening mate in 1, but the very nice pawn to f4, grabbing more space.
And defending
g2 and pushing back the queen a bit. Queen h4 was played. Again, white consistently offers the trade of queens here because he's got more space, more control of the board, better developed as well. So queen e7, black jumps back. On to f5, pushing. So he's basically just harassing the pieces that wanted the problems to attack him. So he solved everything. Rook g5, rook d1, including all of the pieces. And after bishop d7 and f6, white actually started attacking himself. And after a long, hard-fought battle, actually he went on to win the game.
Yeah.
So
nice, instructive game.
Very instructive. I think most of our players that are starting off or struggling to climb up the rating ladder will take some good points from this one.
I think so.
Yeah. So I think that's enough instructive nonsense for today, Watu.
Absolutely.
Yes. So thanks to the players again for sending in the games.
Thank you.
And we will see you for the next one.